Hi, this is Dayton Ward, and you're listening to the Sci-Fi Sistas podcast.
Welcome to the Sci-Fi Sistas podcast, where we give you our point of view. We're here today. I'm Tamia Harper. We're at Shore Leave 43. Say what's up, peoples.
What's up?
We're doing a live show from Shore Leave 43. We have a great guest with us. I'm joined by my sister, Sabrina Wood, Yvette Blackman-Tom, and Fran T.
What's happening?
And we have our really special guest that we're super excited to have on the show finally, because we've been trying to make this happen for quite some time. He's the Star Trek author extraordinaire. He's a really great author, period. But we love him for his Star Trek novels. You know we do. He is none other than Mr. Dayton Ward. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. We're really excited because, first of all, you're you, and you're super cool. And anybody...
Tell my kids that, will you?
Okay, well.
It doesn't translate that way.
At all. We will tell them at every opportunity that we get. You have been in our lives, those of us who have picked up a random Star Trek novel half the time your name is on it. And you've been in our lives for a while. And right now, we want to celebrate your newest book that you were commissioned to write, Somewhere to Belong, which is a disco tie-in, correct?
Yes, it is. So yes, Somewhere to Belong is a discovery novel that came out back in May. And it is set between seasons 3 and 4 of the show.
Yay.
For those of you who have not read it yet, and why haven't you?
Right. It's good.
It's a good read.
Shame on you. Okay, so all right. So before I really want to backtrack a little bit with you, because I know that we have a lot of writers in the audience and people who are interested to know your journey into writing. Like, where was your start?
I started writing as a creative outlet, sort of a counter to my being a software developer for my day job. And I've been reading since childhood, including a healthy dose of Star Trek. I'm pretty sure one of my first books was one of the James Blish collection of episode novelizations.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's one of the first books I bought with my own money. And my mother, of course, who never understood Star Trek, but figured out that I liked it, she was the indulgent one. So like if we had the extra $2 at the drugstore, I could get that comic book or that book or whatever. So I started writing Star Trek fan fiction for fun and to share with my friends. And I wrote other stories that weren't Star Trek, but they, like, our circle of people were characters in our stories that we write. So I was doing it for the goof. And then back in 1997, Pocket Books, who at the time was the licensing partner for Star Trek novels, started a contest called Strange New Worlds for unpublished writers. And I submitted a story basically on a dare from a friend of mine. She basically called my manhood into question. And so I submitted a story, and lo and behold, it was one of the first ones they picked. They picked 18 stories for that first anthology, and I managed to repeat that the second and third year. And that was when they offered me a novel contract to write a full-blown Star Trek novel. And of course, I'd never written anything longer than a short story professionally, and of course I said yes, because if you're an up-and-coming writer, you always say yes when you're offered a job. And I've been writing Star Trek novels ever since.
Wow, that is fantastic. That's so cool. Because I know that a lot of different people come, to the Trek novel world from different groups, but that Strange New World competition is just so integral. Half of the Trek we have today came from that contest, right? I mean, there's a lot of it, right?
A number of writers got their start through that contest. Some of them have continued writing Star Trek, and others have spun out an entire career separate from Star Trek, and they're very successful. It was a door that, for licensed fiction, just doesn't open very often. And I'm fully aware of that my journey is different than the typical writer. And I have just been very fortunate to be given that opportunity. I try not to forget that. I try to keep it in mind when I'm taking the next project.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's your humility and grace that comes through, which is why fans love you so much. I mean, we love your writing. I mean, I know that you are one of Yvette's favorite authors, correct, madam?
Yes. I'm geeking here.
No pressure.
I'm like, he knows already. So, yes, I'm trying to contain myself from here.
The humility is easy because my mother, who never understood Star Trek or my love for it, but still indulged me when I was a child, she was like, I swear this is a verbatim quote. I can't believe they paid you to write that crap. but right there, she was unofficially the president of the Tampa-based chapter of my fan club. So she would cajole, and I don't want to take too much time, but she had a lot of friends who would come to visit her, and she was a big reader.
Dayton, this is your time.
So cozy mystery type reader, Harlequin romance, everything, but she had a copy of everything I'd ever written on the bottom shelf in her living room.
Wow.
And so she'd get friends that would come over to hang out, and they keep looking at the shelf, looking at her, looking at the shelf, and they're like, do you read those things, the Star Trek books? And she's like, no, I've never read a single one, but my son writes those. And then she would tell me, about half the time, the person's eyes would widen and say, your son is Dayton Ward?
Oh, wow.
Can I get copies of your books? And so I'm mailing copies of my new book down until she figured out that I don't get royalties on the books I send her. She's like, go to the store and buy them so my son gets paid. So she was, like I said, she wasn't a huge fan, but she liked me.
Yeah, that's all that matters. All that matters.
It's like my mom has, like, I think she's might have listened to, like, one of our shows, you know, maybe two. But she loves us so much, and anything that she can do to support me. That's, moms being moms. That's what's up.
That's what moms do. Keeps you humble, but yet brags on you. When you're
Right? Exactly. She goes, I don't understand. You're like the sci-fi thing. I don't understand to me a sci-fi thing. That's what she says.
You made the New York Times bestseller list. Yeah, the dishes need doing.
Right. It's so funny. My mom is an actual fan of the show, so she critiques us. And, yeah, I'd rather have my mom not know what's going on, but she's a huge Star Trek. So when you talked about Spock doing this, that's not really what happened. And I'm like, okay, can you write it down and just send it to me? Yeah. So, moms are great.
So, but you started off writing Trek fiction in a time when none of it was considered canon, and you guys had sort of, did you have like free reign to write? Did you just pitch an idea and say, this is what we want to write, this is how we want to take this character? Was there a lot of oversight? Because I'm looking at now, there are novels coming out like the one that you're doing now, the one that just came out, that is a tie-in, it's a direct tie-in, and that is canon. And I'm wondering about the differences between the tie-in novels are canon, correct? The tie-in,
everybody, you get to see the books are canon. Ooh.
The new tie-in novels, aren't they considered canon?
Yeah.
That's what we've been told.
The studio will tell you that the books are not canon in the sense that the shows are going to look at them and go, "Oh, we should make sure our episodes stay in step with the books."
Okay.
The phrase that they like to use is "canon until you're not."
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, so in my world, Star Trek canon is a lot like being pregnant or circumcised. You either are or you're not. There's your adult content warning for the podcast. But with the new versions of the shows in active production and the books that are coming out that support those shows, we work very closely with Kirsten Beyer, who is the liaison between Secret Hideout and Simon & Schuster for the books and IDW for the comics and other licensing partners. So we know where the stakes in the ground are, where we can go with the characters and where we need to avoid. So it's basically, it's like it was when I first started, when Enterprise was still the show that was in production and they were still making a movie here and there. And then for the bulk of my career, all that was off the air and we were between, all we had were the 3 reboot movies. And we were given a tremendous amount of latitude during that period, between 2005 and 2019, 2020 when Picard premiered. So we were allowed to do all kinds of crazy things with the characters. Marry them off, promote them, move them off the ship, kill them, bring them back, whatever. And then Picard came along and sort of reset expectations as far as what we can do with the books.
Okay.
now that the shows are actively being produced again, we have to. There's another layer of oversight, and so and approvals, and but as shows wrap, like Picard is done, and Discovery is going to give us its last season, next year.
Right.
We expect that the reins will loosen a little bit again with respect to being able to do things with those characters that we ordinarily would not get to do. We're like, it's a wait and see kind of thing right now.
Right.
Because we don't know what will happen. It's like Picard's coming over, or supposedly over, but now they're making noises about maybe there could be a spinoff. And I honestly don't know. But you never know.
Right.
Nothing. You never say never in this business.
That's right.
I never thought they would bring back Picard to TV. Whoever thought that they would bring him back 25 years after the last movie or whatever?
Right.
Never going to happen. Let alone everybody else.
Right.
So that reality was shattered.
And you know it's Trek. Like even if you see a ship crash, they're not necessarily dead.
Right.
Even if you see a body, they're not dead.
Right. Even if you see a body.
When we saw Picard, he was dead.
He did. Right.
And he's not. I'm like, well, there we go.
Yeah.
So.
Dead, Jim.
Rain melted away.
Well, I'm wondering if you can talk to us a little bit about this new Trek and the direction that you see Trek going in, especially in light of the cancellation of Discovery and the cancellation of Prodigy. I mean, are you worried at all?
I'm not. I mean, as a fan, I'm like, well, I like that show.
Yeah.
I really did like Prodigy. It was one of my favorite.
Me too.
When I first started, I should back up. In addition to being a writer, I'm also a consultant to Paramount Global, which lets me read manuscripts and outlines and pitches for novels, comics, games, and other interactive experience. Anything with a narrative. If it's got a story involved, I'm usually in the loop somewhere making notes about canon and continuity and lore and all that kind of stuff. But I also read all the scripts from all the shows. And I provide notes about the canon and the continuity and the lore, which they may or may not take. I get paid the same whether they take the notes. But I try to advise them, like, well, you can't use this character because they're going to show up in this show, next year or something. So I get to see everything as much as a year and a half in advance for everybody else. I mean, I'm spoiled on everything for the next 2 years.
Okay. Yeah.
So with Prodigy, it was the one thing that I liked from the jump. Like, I really thought the premise was awesome. Like, this is a great on-ramp for new fans. Like, you're going to learn what it means to be Starfleet. You're going to learn what the Star Trek ethos are. At the same time, the characters are learning it, which is the best way to take that journey. And so I was imagining, the whole first season is a role-playing game campaign. So Star Trek Adventures, the role-playing game, could create a module or something that would be Prodigy-based. I had all these grand ideas. I did not see the cancellation coming. That was a complete shock to all of us. I did not. I knew that Discovery was term limited. I didn't know exactly how many seasons they were going to run, but we knew it was going to end after no more than 6 or 7.
Right.
The decision for them to do after 5 was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
We always knew Picard was going to be 3 seasons because that's what he committed to. He
Right.
said, "I'll do 3 years of this, and then I'm done with you clowns."
Right.
Everything else is open-ended.
Unless there's a movie.
Unless there's a movie. Everything else was open-ended. Like, Lower Decks has no signs of stuff. They are hip deep and working on season 5 right now. I just read the 4th season.
So was Prodigy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But, I mean, here's the thing. Lower Decks, they've never missed a deadline, and they've never exceeded their budget, not one time.
Wow.
They have hit their mark. If you notice, every season premieres exactly almost to the day every year.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not an accident. Those guys know what they're doing, and they know Star Trek. Here's my thing is, you can't make jokes about Star Trek unless you know Star Trek.
That's right. That's right.
So they know where the spots are. They know where the soft spots are, and they know where the humor is, and they know where the laughing with, not laughing at humor is.
Yeah.
So they are pound for pound some of the strongest Star Trek writers I've ever met.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's what I've been saying. I've been trying to tell you people.
Wait. Stop, people. Stop.
Here's where we get the E on this. I call bullshit. I call straight bullshit.
Yeah. Cured my aversion to animation.
Yeah,
Okay,
she
so
does.
you should have led with that.
I'm listening. We're trying to tell you people. It's Prodigy. Like, I loved that show. It came out to be one of my favorites. I didn't particularly care to watch animated shows, so You know, so it was a long haul to get me to watch both of them, but I love Prodigy, and after I watched it, I agree with you. It's definitely the show that's going to bring the younger generation in, which I really don't see the other shows so much doing. You know, they kind of play into the older crowd that was already watching Star Trek. Prodigy was going for a whole new thing.
Prodigy swung for the fences, in my opinion, and my belief in that was strengthened when I got to meet some of the creative folks at the Chicago convention last year. I got to meet Aaron Walke and some of the other folks, and I got to meet the Lower Decks crew. Like I got to meet Brad Winters and Mike McMahon.
Right.
And these people are Star Trek fans.
Awesome, right?
They are
All
not
of them,
posers.
both crews, because they came down. If you weren't, was anybody here at Chicago? Woohoo, Chicago folks! Yeah. But they were down in the vendors room. They came. I mean, they just came and walked around and met fans and spent hours talking to us. Hours, not just like, hey, we're here.
So, for those of you who didn't get to go to the show, the Lower Decks crew, Jack Quaid, Jerry O'Connell, Tawny Newsom, and I'm blanking on her last name, Tendi, who plays Tendi. They all dressed up in character for their panel. They all wore Lower Decks costumes. She put on the green paint. He got the purple hair, the whole smash. And then Jerry O'Connell did not ask for or take the offered autograph table for posed autographs and photo ops. He wandered the convention floor all day in costume, posing with fans, taking photos, signing autographs, just having a ball. And then they had a huge party on Saturday night. I guess Tawny Newsom has a friend who owns a bar in Chicago. I think everybody has a friend who owns a bar in Chicago. So there was this little dive bar in the middle of nowhere in Chicago, and this was this huge party. And that's where I actually got to talk to the writing staff and Mike McMahon. And these people are not posers; they are Star Trek fans.
They are,
and they can quote episode lines and numbers and production numbers and all this. Like, okay, even I have a limit. Okay. But they do. I mean, it's fun to read their script. As I tell my boss, I'm like reading when I see a Lower Deck script come through in the email, I'm like, I'm going to have a good day today.
Yeah.
You know, and I get maybe it'll wash the taste out of that other thing I read. And I'm not going to name any names. It could be anything. You know? I mean, I'm making a joke there, but I'm just saying, genuinely speaking,
Okay.
I love anything with Lower Decks on. I'm like, it's going to be a good day. And their writing staff reaches out to the franchise team for help. Like, hey, we need a question about, like, I swear to God, I had a question about Cardassian feet the other day. What do Cardassian feet look like? I'm like, I'm going to say they look like McMahon's. I don't know. I mean, no, it's that kind of conversation. They ask us for help, and it's a lot of fun, a lot of back and forth.
That's a good question, actually. What do Cardassian?
Well, you're going to find out next year.
See, y'all learned it first here on Sci-Fi.
Spoiler alert, Cardassian feet coming next year.
They probably look like their hands, if you think about it.
Oh,
They probably look like their hands, if you think about it. You know, our hands and feet look alike, so.
I just figured their toenails are really gnarly.
Or like Kanar.
that's a good supposition.
Oh, God. Bernard.
Yvette,
Yes.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay.
Okay.
What?
I want you to ask or talk about your favorite Dayton Ward novel, because I know you have it. Can you narrow it down to a favorite?
So I think my favorites are the travel guides.
Oh.
The travel guides are probably my favorite. Travel to Kronos and travel to Vulcan. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that was not something I expected to be involved in. The company who published them, Insight Editions, they came to, it was then CBS, but it's Paramount, wanted to do this travel guide. And they had an idea, but they didn't really have any details. Like, we just want to do a travel guide based on the Star Trek planet. What do you recommend? And they had a list of like 5 planets. And my boss said, you know, Vulcan and the Klingon Empire and maybe Romulus are the strongest candidates. I think Cardassian was in the mix, but I don't remember the 5th one was. And then they said, well, okay, well, who do we get to write this? And the people at Paramount said, Dayton's probably good for this. He's an idiot. So I took a meeting with them, and I said, okay, can we make it look like, they wanted to make it like an actual travel guide that you would buy if you were going on vacation. Like you go to Barnes & Noble and you get a farmer's guide or a Lonely Planet guide.
Does anybody know what that is? I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's basically got all the, where to go, where to eat, where to stay, where the photos are. So I wanted to tell it just like that. So you don't read it cover to cover. You read it based on where you're visiting.
Right.
So a lot of people said, I tried to read this thing and it doesn't make any sense. I'm like, it's not a novel. It's like I read the dictionary. They don't read the D
Which
section.
generation were they? Because there's a certain generation out here that has never used a travel.
That's fair. I mean, everything's online now.
Everything's online.
But I wanted to mimic that format.
Uh-huh.
So every section has a breakdown of where to stay, where to eat, where to go, what's not to do, what that. And then, so the humor is in my brain's writing it straight. It's not Vulcan's writing the guide. It's some overworked office somewhere on some planet, right? That's like, okay, where are all the cool things on Vulcan? It's Vulcan. There are no cool things. I said, think about it. I said, Vulcan in the 24th century is, I imagine the capital city is, very cosmopolitan. It's like New York or Paris or Tokyo. It's an amalgam of cultures. I said, so that's what that city would be. But the outlying areas would be more traditional. And so we started spinning out all these things. And it just became, and so I went through the episodes to figure out where the landmarks that had been mentioned. And after I got those 5, I'm like, okay, now I got to make up the other 80,000 words. And so I just started digging. I started pulling stuff out of old novels and role-playing games and comics and other references that fans would get. But yet, if you were just buying it because you were a Star Trek fan, it would be hopefully entertaining. But if you were hardcore, you'd get the Easter egg. So that's the balance. And they liked it enough that they asked me to do the Klingon guide. It was just one of those unexpected opportunities that presented itself.
They're very good. You should go ahead and get those.
That says you should go ahead and get those in case you didn't catch that on the mic.
They also asked helpful tips, like what to do if somebody gives you their Contra. Or what happens if you get pulled into a marriage ceremony that results in battle to the death. I mean, how to go to where's the bathroom involved? You need to have this
That's
information.
important. You don't need to know how to say that.
How do
In
you
case
say
you go to Vulcan.
I don't know how to say it.
He actually gives you the how to say it. I mean, I don't know how to say it, but it's right.
This is good. This is not good.
Yeah, this is the Vulcan finger.
Yeah, this is like die young in poverty or something.
Die young in
That's when I do that. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, now y'all have started something. People are giving us the finger all over.
Was it now live, log, and proper?
Yeah.
Logs are proper.
I don't know if I feel safe now.
It's no longer a safe
You're
space.
sarcastic, Vulcan. Thank you very much.
I swear that's the best addition to Star Trek.
Oh my
canon.
God!
Oh,
Yes.
It is.
The best thing ever.
And who knew that was gonna be the one that landed, right? To stick, But everybody, I mean, that crossed all sorts of people who don't even like I don't like the cartoons. I don't think Star Trek Lower Decks is funny. I don't get the humor. But sarcastic Vulcan, so you know this.
There was a period where we would be on Zoom calls. There'd be like a dozen of us, and we would all be like.
Oh my God. I would pay to see that.
I need a gift of that going on.
Yeah.
The writer's room.
I love it.
So, I mean, one of the reasons that people love your novels so much is that, you're a very character-driven writer. Are there certain themes that you like to explore more than others with your characters?
I don't have favorite themes or anything like that. I mean, I just go where the story. I figure out the theme based on what they want from the story, and then I figure out which characters are going to be the more prominent characters. I try to give everybody a moment, in the books, which is the advantage of the books versus the TV shows. It's like, all right, can you tell me, anything about the Discovery Bridge crew?
Thank you.
And
that was one of my number one critiques of that show. I love Discovery, but I am cited on this podcast saying I don't know these people.
But to be fair, that's the show is oriented around a couple of core characters. Right. Everybody else is supporting players, so, which is really a lot like TV used to be written.
Yes.
So, and the type of stories that Discovery was telling, there's just no room to breathe.
You can't do it. They would need a lot longer season.
That was one of our problems early on was when they said, well, we want you to write a Discovery novel. And somebody even said on the call, set between seasons 1 and 2. And I'm like, what? You mean like in the elevator when they go downstairs to meet the captain of the Enterprise? Because that's where you left off season 1. You know, and then season 2 picks right up. And then for Michael Burnham, season 3 follows right after season 2. And then Discovery shows up and they're doing that season's big bad thing for the season. There's no time to like acclimate. There's no time to get a hold of your circumstances. There's no time to take a breath, go to the bathroom, get a sandwich, thump it. So when they asked me to do the newest one, there's a gap between seasons 3 and 4 of several months. I'm like, perfect. Finally,
Yeah.
I've got a window of time where I can put the crew through the paces of what I call a traditional Star Trek story, where they encounter a problem and they try to fix it.
Yeah.
You know, that's to me was the biggest draw for doing this story. It was like I get to answer some questions that were left unanswered between seasons 3 and 4. Everybody's seen seasons 3 and 4 of Discovery, right?
Yeah.
A number of interpersonal conflicts are left open
Yes.
at the end of season 3. Like Stamets
Yes.
is super pissed at Burnham.
Right.
And other people are not happy with each other. But by the time season 4 starts, we're all happy again.
Right.
We're like, oh, wait a minute. There's a story there, you know? But that, for a tie-in writer, that's gold.
Right.
Because all these little dangling plot threads that they've left hanging, that's an opportunity for us. And I said, I just want to tell a story where the crew gets to go solve a problem, and I get to have some fun with the character interplay, and maybe answer some of those unresolved questions that I know fans have asked. I don't know that I'm the right answer or the only answer, but here's an answer.
Right.
And then we go from there. And I get to tell a traditional Star Trek story that doesn't require you to read 7 more books to get the
Right.
full story.
Right.
So that was my goal going in, was just to treat Burnham and her crew like any of the other Star Trek crews for one book.
Right. And this is why this book is so cool. This is exactly why this book is so cool. Because that particular issue that you talked about, like we talked about that on the show before, like there's some hanging chads happening here. And, you know, that stink eye that Stamets gave Burnham at the end of that season, and then opening up with season 4 and everybody's all like kumbaya.
Made a joke about it.
Right. I was not having it. It was not believable to me.
And there are also other issues like, Michael Burnham's journey to the center seat. I mean, it was obviously troubled.
Right.
Okay. And her story, I mean, Discovery, if it's anything, it's Michael Burnham's redemption arc.
Yeah.
That's basically at the core of the entire series. But even as she finally gets the chair at the end of season 3, it's like, well, she's, her first mission, right? When we see her in season 4, she seems pretty comfortable with it.
That's right.
So it's like, okay, there's moments there where she's going to have some self-doubt. Anybody would have self-doubt if you're not a narcissist. You're gonna think, am I up to the job?
Yeah.
Am I finally here after all of that drama that went on? Am I up to the job? That's a valid question that we would all ask of ourselves. So I wanted to explore that a little bit. I love the relationship between Stamets and Hugh Culber. Discovery, more than a lot of the shows, the interpersonal dynamics are much different. They're more modern in sensibilities, and we have all these other things that we just didn't deal with in the old shows. That's just not the way TV was written. And I just wanted to take advantage of these rich characters that have been largely undefined, but yet the pieces that we do know are very enticing. I'm like, all right, I want to dig in. I get to dig in a little bit. And so they just let me run.
But I noticed that Terry Matalas, before season 3 of Picard, he put out dossiers on all the bridge crews. And you knew their backgrounds because I know he saw that boy that Discovery had with we heard something about the bridge crew, but he put out everything. We were lucky to get the science officer, this person, he called them, they, I said, okay, he's getting, because Discovery didn't do that, he's getting his season 3 running, kicking and running, hitting the ground running. And the background. He put one out for each bridge crew member. And that was really smart because I seemed like I knew these people. The bridge crew at least,
Fans love that stuff too.
Yeah.
It's just like, and I'm a fan, so I love that stuff. I like it when they put some thought into the backstory. Even if we don't really get to dig into that stuff, you at least have a little bit of information about that character. And depending on their fate. It's like, I know more about character X who died in episode 4 than I know about some people that have been on the show for 5 years.
Exactly.
That's the nature of the different types of storytelling. I mean, each show had its different its own mandate about how they were going to approach storytelling, and there's no wrong way to do it.
Right.
One of the things that I've appreciated about all the current iteration of Star Trek is that each show has its own thing. They're largely independent of each other in terms of approach to storytelling, which is fine because if it was five flavors of chocolate,
Right.
Still chocolate, right?
That's why I don't really take when they say we're Star Trek's, we're getting too much of it, we're oversaturated. I'm like, not really, because they're only rolling out one at a time. And every show is different.
You see me apoplectic over here, because I hate hearing that. Like we're oversaturated. Really? Did you not live in an era where we had zero Trek? Do you remember that?
I'm gonna say,
oh, yeah.
I'm gonna say, Rhoda and I, and some I'm gonna say more seasoned fans because I think old, not regular.
Legacy.
I remember growing up in this. I was a kid growing up in the 70s. I watched Star Trek as a rerun on TV after school. It was my mother's lone exception to the homework before TV rule. So I had to watch that Star Trek.
Oh, wow.
And so it's really her fault. All of this.
Man, the more you tell us about your mom, can we
I know,
get
she's
her on
pretty
the
awesome.
show?
Yeah, we need her on the show. She'd be more interesting to talk to. But so I did that, and it was the reruns on after school. It was the cartoon on Saturdays. It was the odd comic and the odd book and the odd action figure and all that stuff. That was Star Trek, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, so when that first movie came along, it's like somebody turned his hose on in the middle of the desert. I was like, it's slow and it's boring. I'm like, it's Star Trek. Shut up.
Right? We're looking at the ship for 10 minutes. Okay.
I don't care. It's beautiful. I mean, granted, I was 12 and I looked at it differently than I look at it now. I love that movie more now as an adult. I had to figure it out. When I was 12, it was like, 2001 was the same way.
Exactly.
When I watched it as a kid, I'm like, this is boring. And then now I'm an adult, I'm like, this is awesome.
Right?
Could be the drugs. I don't know.
That gummy.
I had to grow up.
Let me ask.
Yeah.
Okay, Dayton, I want to know about. So I know you did the tie-in book with Discovery, and you said you were commissioned. Did that happen Did that happen with the A Time 2 books, the series? Did you guys get permission? Did they commission you? Those were kind of supposed to be tie-in type. Was it the same thing?
All the Time 2 books, for those, everybody who has not heard of the books, the Time 2 series, it was a 9-book series that came out in 2004.
Yes.
And it was meant to bridge the gap between Insurrection and Nemesis. Kevin and I had just written one novel, my first one, and I had done a couple of the SCE novellas. We were not in what I call the starting lineup yet. So what happened was they had commissioned these books and they had assigned a pair of books to different writers, but one of the writers had to back out. So they approached Kevin and myself about doing the 2 books that they were going to write. So that was our call up from the minors, so to speak.
Nice.
So yeah, we were commissioned to do those books. It was really funny because by the time we were involved, everybody else had glommed onto these characters or these story points, and so we were left with whatever was left on the plate. So the story is John Ordover, who was the editor, he says, you guys are going to be writing books 3 and 4 of this 9-book series. Books 1 and 2 are set in space, and books 5 and 6 are set on a planet. So don't put your stories anywhere in those 2 areas.
That's it.
Yeah. Everybody's like, yeah, exactly. That was my look too.
Going to the holiday.
So I said, okay, we're gonna blow up a planet and make an asteroid field, and that'll be our thing. So that was our call up to the majors, and after that, we started getting commissioned on a regular basis to write Star Trek novels.
That's a really good series. That's how I started with the novels. That's how I started with the post-Nemesis novels, because I used to read the pocketbooks when I was in the military. But that's what started me. But it's a 9-book series. It's a
There's some stuff that goes on.
Yeah, I don't want to give anything away, but it's a bridge. So it's the little things like we did a show called The Hanging Chads, and the books are perfect for that. Any type of hanging chad that's in a series, there's a book for that. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Dayton and a lot of other writers. But the books, there are people in here like me that we grew up at a time when Enterprise went off and there was nothing else. So I went to the books, and the books helped me keep Star Trek alive. So Star Trek is on, I get it, but the books are really good. I mean, especially if you want something a little different and you want your characters, the characters that they don't really talk about, that have a little background. Yeah, check out the books. They're really good. And I like Dayton. He's cool.
Show my kids, please.
It doesn't work.
I know.
I know, it's
Just
just
embarrass them all the time.
And that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Well, we're almost out of time. We got like one last question for you before we have to sign off here. And I just want to know, is there something, any topic, Trek or otherwise, that you're just dying to write and get published out there, but that you haven't yet? Is there any type of topic?
Oh, we don't have enough time for that. As far as Star Trek is concerned, now that we know that Wesley the Traveler has interacted and works with the people who gave us Gary 7 and the whole Aegis thing, I have thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I in fact, the first time that episode aired, I'm writing my editor going, we need to talk. That's one of my favorite parts of the original series, is that whole Gary 7 stuff.
Yeah.
I wrote a couple of books that tapped into that, and I'm like, but now that they've sort of given us a new wrinkle with the travel, and we did some stuff with Traveler Wesley, like the Time Lord kind of Wesley, I'm like, I have major thoughts on what to do with this. Please let me play.
I really hope they do.
Hopefully something will come about in a few years. We'll see.
I really hope they do, because I would read that in a heartbeat. Yeah. I think, judging by the reaction from the audience, that you guys would read it too, right?
And want to rest, yes.
Right. Well, Dayton, I want to thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate you. We love your work. We love you as a human being. You're just one of the nicest human beings I've ever met. And thank you for being on the show. Everybody say thank you, Dayton.
Thank you.
Folks, we want to thank you guys, too, for coming out and joining us in this recording. And we love you all. And if you're not listening to our show, we hope you do listen really soon. And if you are listening, thank you so much for listening. You know we love you. That's it. Peace, love, and hair grease, peoples.
You can find us at sci-fisistas.com. That's SYFYSISTAS.com. Join us on the mothership. That's MUTHASHIP. And the Sci-Fi Sistas Book Club, both on Facebook. On TikTok, Instagram, and Threads, sci-fi.sistas. And we are also on the Twitter at Sci-Fi Sistas. Become a patron of Sci-Fi Sistas today at patreon.com/Sci-Fi Sistas. The Trek Geeks Network's presenting sponsor is Fansets. Go to fansets.com for pins and memorabilia for all your favorite franchises. Visit fansets.com and use Trek Geeks, all caps, for your exclusive 10% discount. After listening to this podcast, please rate us and write a review. We may just read it on an upcoming episode.